Hey everyone, this is video part 2 on hip flexor tightness and skiing. My name's Kelsey Kwam. I'm a physical therapist at Focus PT in Bend, Oregon. So last week I put out a video on why your hips get tight when you're skinning up the mountain and how that loops back to your skinning technique. Then I showed you guys one easy stretch where you can stretch out your hip flexors. Here's the stretch from last week from a side view. My buddy Casey's demonstrating. All you need with this is a wall and something to put your knee on. Doing this will really help you improve your hip mobility in that position in skinning when you've got that ski behind you and you're climbing uphill. So it gives you a longer, more efficient stride. The skinning technique definitely plays a big role on how much stress you're putting on your hip flexors when you're moving that ski up the mountain. In this video, I'm actually going to talk about another reason why your hips might be getting tight that loops back more to basic human anatomy. Now, if you think about your psoas muscle, that muscle acts to drive that leg forward to advance your ski up the mountain. This muscle actually has attachments to the vertebrae in the low back as well. So in certain cases, this muscle can take over and become more of a stabilizer of the low back in people who have a muscle imbalance between their core and their psoas. So when I'm talking about the core, I'm really referring to 4 muscles. The most outermost core muscle is your rectus abdominis. Underneath that, you've got your external obliques, your internal obliques, and finally the deepest core muscle would be your transverse abdominis. In the 2 exercises I'm going to show you, we're going to be mainly working on the transverse abdominis, commonly known as that core muscle that plays more of a stabilization role to your spine. So I'm going to show you guys my top 3 exercises to strengthen your core. This is marching. Here I'm flattening my back into the floor. I'm tightening my lower core muscles and using those to keep my back flat into the floor as I'm flexing my hip up and down. A second exercise that's really great for backcountry skiers and splitboarders is this front plank with hip extension. This targets your core muscles and you're also using your glutes here to lift your hip. Hip extension is really important for getting a good, efficient stride moving uphill. Exercise number 3. I like anyone who likes to skin uphill to work on bird dog. This trains your core to resist rotation and trains your body to move effectively in that sagittal plane, that forward back flexion extension plane of motion. You want to make sure with this exercise that you're not rotating your hip or letting your back cave in. Your back should stay straight and your core should be working as you're moving your limbs through space. So why is having a strong core so important to backcountry skiers and splitboarders? Well, think about most of us carry a heavy pack on our bodies when we're moving through the mountains. If that pack doesn't fit quite right, it might shift around, putting a greater demand on our core to stabilize and keep our torso in the right place. How about, have any of you ever skinned up an icy skin track and felt your body wanting to slip down the mountain? It's that lateral core stabilization that helps keep our bodies safe on the skin track and in place so we can move efficiently up the mountain. So if you understand how the hip flexors work with the deep abdominals and work on this muscle balance with a few specific exercises, you can really start making the hip flexors work less hard to drive that leg up the mountain on skis. Thanks so much for watching and happy skiing.